Kani kadega Batesi TV, bat pidang pet yaki kubor baman kasni, balwan rasha pi da ka Orange Nissan, lom so po niya Fabricate Shillong, ringkat bat ka BDW International School Nongmansong, Langkarding Shillong. Admissions open now.
Hakani kadar bar mang tingka hakakan rew terik mutab nai leber arjar arpo. Hakikenta bo jingkeli halor ki khobor ki bami hakilat pathai khobor hakani kadar bar mang tingka na kaliang MLA ka seng Congress uba PT sokme bat ka MLA jong ka seng Congress ka Dr. M Ampurin Ningdo kila panjik pancai halor ka jingmi khobor hakikat tu kani ki kot khobor ka wei ka badan ka heading ka baong thombor bat lute ki khar bangla sah ka snong amdo bat rong tila bat kawai pat khubor kadai ka badan ya ka heading ka baong Komso carries out ILP drives with police.
Regarding with this news item, the incident which have been happening on the areas of the Snong Amdo Rongtila. So this area is in the West Janja Hills, but according to the news item, it was a very unfortunate that some of Bangladeshi's people forcefully have entered the house of Mr. Pratap Bare. Then after they have entered, because they're having around 10 to 15 of Bangladeshi, when they entered, they're beating them, treating them, and also they have take the cash, mobile, even the SBBL gun. They have taken by this Bangladeshi. But so we are very fortunate with the proactive of the OC from the West Giant Hills. Immediately they have rushed the spot. Then have make a search operation. Then have find out about those Bangladeshi. Even those Bangladeshi, they have already been attacked. The BSF personnel who having duty. So regarding with this matter, sir, this matter has been happening from time to time. So at the beginning, I may say that the police department they have done the job of looking that everything will go well. People in the borders areas, they will live peacefully. That is our job, even from the police department. They have done the job. So we understand that the borders areas, if it is a state border, if international border, lot of illegal thing has happening from time to time, sir. So regarding with this, what I would like to suggest to the government, even the police department, I've used the word at the beginning. Police department, they have done the job. But after I looking all this thing that this thing again happened, sir, I would like to urge that the level of the Home Department, the DGP, even the DIG, or the higher rank of the Home Department, sit together, make a plan, make a blueprint, how to counter, how to be on the spot, because the main important, like we have already been experiences regarding with incident. And I've already said, sir, regarding with this matter, that our people have been targeted. No doubt we are living in the borders, international borders areas, 857 kilometers, borders with international with the Bangladesh. But as of now, the fencing has not been completed. It will take some time. But like I've already said, my suggestion regarding with this matter, sir, I would like our department, DGP, DIG, others sit together, make a blueprint how to save our people. That is the first instance. Then the second instance, sir, I have already urged the minister concerned, it may be revenue, it may be home minister, be on the spot sometime. When you're going into in the border area, people living in the borders areas, they feel inspiration. Because why? Because when you see the armed minister coming on the spot, looking for the problem of the borders people. So we're talking about the present necessity of the minister on the spot of the borders. We have to take the example of the present Prime Minister Narendra Modi. Sometimes when he meet with the forces to inspire them, encourage them, also to recognize them, also to send a message that we are with you because you are doing a commendable job. That's why, sir, regarding with the problem of the borders, I would like the minister sometimes to be in the spot, be people see by yourself what is going wrong. Because regarding with this border, sometimes we speak more. We speak more on the newspaper, we speak more on the floor of the house, but in reality, within the reality, we talk about Assam have been encroached, Minister Assam have said that, MLA Assam, but from our side, no MLA, no minister, no others have been in the spot. Because of that, because we could see that, it seemed from our side, this is not a property, this is not my areas. Why should I bother much? Because of that reason, sir, some leaders have said that our forefathers wrongly have accepted the state. So if our forefathers are not fought for the state will not get. Living with the present situation, living with us in the present scenario that we are living today, difficult to get them in a statehood, sir, because we should be thankful to them. So regarding with this, I would like to urge the minister and be with the people. In addition to that, I have to appreciate Honorable Chief Minister have been allocated, all the 11 ministers have been entrusted to 11 districts. But I met with one minister asking, why don't you go visit them into that border area? See, our job in the border is not our job. It is a job of revenue. It is a job of our Home Minister. That is very wrong, sir. But it is, in one way, it is a fact, because it is not the minister concerned. But in one thing, sir, be a minister in the 12, you are a very lucky person, especially with the special scenarios here. 49 MD they have. Being a minister of 12, you are a very lucky person. If this is the time you cannot serve, if this is the time you not be the people, if this is the time that you can do anything, when? That's why most of us at the time when we are no more minister, no more MLAs, we feel regretted. Because why? Because at the time when we got opportunity will come once. That's why I would like to request so the minister be with the people, so that we would like this matter to be and at the earliest. In conclusion, I also would like to urge the Home Department. I've already said that Home Department have done a communal job. Why not the Home Department allowed others to point out fingers about you? Why not allow the others that say that the department are not serious? Why not allow others to say that Home Department making a report from the office itself? I urge the DGP, others high up, do something. You're here for saving. We are very much respect you. We are here to serve the state, but you like this matter to be end at the earliest. We understand it is very tough. It is a tough situation of solving international border, state border, very tough. But the main important people have seen, you have tried. Sincerity is there. But my important, sir, I request when the Home Department or the DGP do something for the state so that this thing will not happen again. Once again, sir, thank you, sir, that you have allowed me. I'm sure that the Home Department, like we are together with them, they will do a good job. There is one word, sir, I would like to say that, like Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam, President of India, said, when the people in the country are sleeping, we are sleeping safely, because why? The forces are protecting us. That's why everything we live on the forces. The forces are that we have today in our state. We have trust in you, confident in you. Do something for the state, for the safety, security, and also especially for the border areas. Thank you, sir.
Honorable Chief Minister, please.
Mr. Speaker, sir, I am once again thankful to the Honourable Member, Shri P.T. Sokme, MLA of Maulai constituency, who has tabled the call notice in this August House on the news item, which appeared in the newspaper U Nongsan Hima, dated 9th January 2020, under the caption, Thombor Bat Luteki Kar Bangla Shahasnong Amdo and Rongtela. Is that better, sir? Perfect. Thank you, sir. Perfect. During the budget session of the Meghalaya Legislative Assembly 2020. Mr. Speaker, sir, with regard to the above mentioned news item, I would like to inform the House as follows. Number one, the Amdo incident. On the intervening night of 7th and 8th January 2020, about 10 to 15 miscreants from Bangladesh, armed with sharp-edged weapons, entered inside village Amdo, opposite border post BP number 1279/4-S. The miscreants forcibly broke into the house of one civilian, namely Shri Pratap Bare, who was with another person, Shri Aibor Nonglamin, and assaulted them with the intention to rob the residence. During the confrontation with the miscreants, Pratap Bare fired one round with his 12-bore licensed gun to protect themselves and reportedly injured one of them, who immediately ran into the jungle. Outnumbered, the miscreants managed to loot cash amounting to 35,000 rupees only, 2 mobile handsets, 1 SBBL gun belonging to Shri Pratap Bare, his ID cards, ATMs, etc., and fled away towards Bangladesh, taking advantage of the darkness and thick vegetation. During the incident, Shri Pratap Bare received injuries in both arms and was treated at Dauki PHC, while Shri Aibor Nonglamin received only minor injuries. And later, when police carried out search in the area along the international borders with Bangladesh, 1 SBBL live round was recovered. During the search, police noticed the blood trail which led to Mukhampungji village located in Bangladesh. According to police source information, the identity of the injured miscreants who received bullet injury on his abdomen is Kaushar Ali, who is aged 25 years old, resident of Mohammadpur PS, Gowainghat, Sylhet, Bangladesh. He was reportedly to be admitted in Sylhet MAG Osmani Medical College. In this connection, a case was registered against him at Dauki PS, wide Dauki PS case 4-01-2020 U/S 395 IPC. Sir, in the Rongtela incident on January 8th, 2020, at around 12:40 a.m., about 15 to 20 Bangladeshi miscreants armed with sharp-edged weapons attacked the BSF personnel on duty at border outpost Rongtela, and during the incident, Head Constable Shiv Shankar De sustained deep cut injuries to right side of his head as well as on his left leg, and due to which he fell down on the ground. The miscreants also snatched the INSAS rifle from the head constable and fled towards Bangladesh. Constable Sarwana Kumar S., who was standing nearby, was also pushed and attacked by the miscreants, causing him to slip and roll down about 20 to 25 feet along the roadside. On receipt of information, Inspector Banka Ram, officiating company commander along with reinforcement party, rushed towards the spot. But by then the miscreant had fled from the spot. Shiv Shankar De was immediately evacuated to PHC Dauki, where he was provided first aid necessary treatment. Later on, search was carried out by BSF search party, and the snatched INSAS rifle was recovered at a distance of approximately 200 meters from the place of incident. A case was later registered in this regard via Dauki PS case number 5-01-2020 US 395/397 IPC. Sir, the following actions were taken by the government to address the matter. The Deputy Inspector General of Police, Eastern Range, the Deputy Commissioner and Superintendent of West Jayantha Hills District conducted spot assessment in Darang Junction, Amdo and Rongtela on the 8th of January 2020. Accordingly, the Superintendent of Police, West Jayantha Hills District, who has enhanced area domination, exercise in close coordination with the BSF and have stepped up intelligence network to prevent occurrence of such similar incidents in the near future. Number two, as part of confidence building measures, the district administration has also apprised the Doloi Elaka, Satpator, Sengraj, Muktapur, and some elders of the border areas about the security measures undertaken by the police department and the BSF. The in-charge sub-division officer, Amlarem, has also been instructed to apprise residents living in the border areas about the security measures undertaken by the police department and district administration. Further, BSF Frontier Headquarters, Shillong, was also apprised of the situation with a request to sensitize BSF personnel manning the Indo-Bangladesh border outposts to be on high alert and keep a sharp lookout for any suspicious movement and activities by anti-social elements, criminals along the Indo-Bangladesh border, with greater emphasis on porous and unfenced section of the border to prevent recurrence of such incidents. The President Sinjuk Ki Wahe Shnong, War Jentia Amlarem Subdivision, West Jenti Hills District, was also requested to sensitize the people to be vigilant and ensure safe custody of legal weapons acquired by them to prevent such incidents in future, and seek his cooperation to educate the people about the danger of illegal engagement with Bangladesh nationals who may turn later as informer to carry out criminal activities in the border areas. So in addition, the following actions have been taken by the BSF Frontier Headquarters Meghalaya to prevent such incidents in future and to instill sense of security among the border population. Number one, on the 8th of January 2020, Company Commander and Commandant 30th Battalion BSF held a meeting with the BGB and lodged written protest about these incidents were lodged with the BGB by the IG Frontier Headquarters Meghalaya. On the 9th of January 2020, IG Frontier Headquarters BSF Meghalaya lodged a written protest about these incidents with Regional Commander Northeast Region Sarial BGB Bangladesh. On the 9th of January 2020, IG Frontier Headquarters Meghalaya along with DIG, Sector Headquarters Juwai and Officiating Commandant 30 Battalion BSF visited place of occurrence to know the factual details of these incidents and to assess the security scenario on border. On the 8th and 9th of January 2020, Shri UK Nayal, DIG, Frontier Headquarters BSF Meghalaya also visited the place of incidents. Field commanders have reviewed the unit domination plan and more night patrolling ambushes are being laid in sensitive patches prone to such incidents. Quick response team reinforcement have been placed at sensitive patches to meet for any unforeseen contingencies. Night vehicle patrolling has been intensified. Senior BSF officers are visiting border areas frequently and camping at sensitive BOPs to supervise the operations. Commandant and company commanders of the BSF have been directed to interact and hold meetings with civil border population to instill sense of safety and security among them. BSFG intelligence staff have been tasked to provide actionable inputs regarding movement of trans-border criminals. Strength at sensitive BOTs have been augmented. Company commanders have been directed to approach concerned PS to provide staff for joint patrolling operations in depth areas. Field commanders have been directed to take proactive measures to prevent such incidents. Investigation of both the cases are being conducted and concerted efforts are on to arrest the accused persons involved in the above mentioned cases. The condition of the injured persons from both the incidents is normal. At the same time, sir, the points mentioned by the Honourable Member regarding the visit of different elected representatives and ministers is also being noted down. I think must be aware that the Home Minister himself is the local MLA there. So he has been closely monitoring the situations. Of course, at that point he was not, but he has been taking personal interest into the situation. And now as Home Minister, there will, I'm sure, will be more efforts put in from his end to ensure that we reach to the logical conclusion of these cases, sir. So with these few words, I trust that this clarification satisfies the Honourable Member.
the people of the state, particularly in the eastern region, had demanded that a resolution for the implementation of the ILP would be brought in the form of a resolution. Until date, sir, there has been no action taken on this matter. Sir, I would like to appreciate the British government for having brought a law, sir, whose main intention, sir, was the protection of the interest of tribals. And subsequently, sir, we've seen that this law extended on a broader ban and was called the Bengal Eastern Frontier Regulation of 1873. So we have seen from the 1st of January of this year, the state of Manipur has also been brought under the ILP regime. So the question that rises here is, you have called 60 MLAs to the Legislative Assembly on the 19th of December with a promise that this resolution would be heard and this resolution would be made operational at the earliest for the state of Meghalaya. But yet, that has not materialized. Sir, as a member of the opposition, I am not privy to government decisions, and hence, like the rest of the public, we assess the progress of this matter by updating ourselves from various press reports that are published in various newspapers from time to time, so that we may have a sense of the general feeling of concern about the fact that the ILP has still today not been promulgated in the state of Meghalaya. I would like to quickly look at some of the news items that have appeared in various newspapers in the last 2 months. So on the 18th of December, there was great jubilation in the MDA camp, where we had a proud Chief Minister announcing that this time, after so many years of defeated attempts to impress upon the government of India the need to promulgate ILP in the state of Meghalaya, this government is going to do the job. That happened on the 18th as per the Times of India. So then after that, the narrative started changing, Honorable Deputy Speaker, sir, where we see on the 20th of December in the NDTV that the Chief Minister declared that it was a victory of the people's plea and that this government is serious and will fight tooth and nail and impress upon the government of India to bring the ILP into the state. On the 28th of December, sir, the Northeast Now indicates a change of narrative, where they said that pressure groups have forced all 60 MLAs of this August House to stand united and speak one language and demand for ILP. However, ILP doesn't seem to be the direction in which the government of Meghalaya will be going towards. So, on the 11th of January, the New Indian Express, we have a change, a complete detouring from the ILP narrative, and we see the appearance of the fact that there will be a new law implemented in the state of Meghalaya under the name Meghalaya Resident Safety and Security Act. So, on the 11th of January again, when we look at the Sentinel, there is a strong story which indicates that COMSO reiterates demand for ILP in Meghalaya. So earlier, the COMSO, along with the police force, had conducted a vigilante form of the ILP in Burni Hut. And by the 11th of January, even the COMSO now had realized that maybe the distant dream of ILP maybe would not materialize for the state of Meghalaya as a whole. So by the 19th of January 2020, the Tribune indicated in its news report that the centre may not allow Meghalaya to have ILP. So by the 29th of January, the Hindu again talks about protests against the CEA being the sole reason for this pressure on the Legislative Assembly to pass a resolution to ensure that the media reports to the effect that some of them are even threatening that they will take the law into their hand, as I see reported in the Hindu on the 29th of January 2020. Sir, these stories continue till about the 14th of February, where East Mojo had indicated that the Chief Minister and some of his colleagues were found waiting in Delhi for a meeting with the Honorable Home Minister of the Government of India to discuss and to speed up the promulgation and notification of ILP in the state of Meghalaya. Time and again, sir, we are seeing that there is this false hope that is being presented to the people of the state, saying that, yes, Government of India is considering, Government of India is studying, and a host of other words have been used to cover up for the delay of decision taking. So, 21st of February, again we see a news item in the Shillong Times given by the COMSO, which says that they vow to launch a massive movement for ILP. Again, we have seen in another news item, the News Mill, where the lone minister from the BJP party had said that the people are not restless for the ILP for the state of Meghalaya. Looking at all of these news items, sir, I can generate a conclusion which says that all the efforts that we have put in to ensure that we compromise on our own individual stance on the matter of ILP and go with what is required at the day and at the moment for the good of the people of the state, we have all unanimously decided that ILP would be the only protection for the state of Meghalaya in as far as checking the entry and the exit of outsiders who come to the state. So on the one hand, you have this argument which says that we are not sure whether we will get the ILP. But on the other hand, there is another more important argument that is being generated. And that is, what is the style and the nature of the ILP that will be adopted by the government of Meghalaya as and when this necessary permission is given by the Government of India. So we have known that different states have different approaches to the implementation of the ILP. I would urge upon the government of the day that while these dialogues and discussions are going on with the Government of India, we need to fast track and have some sort of a model in place so that the people of the state do not get further agitated, further restless, further anxious about whether or not this ILP will come to the state of Meghalaya. I am happy that I was also a part of the designing of a very, very forceful, comprehensive law in the name of Meghalaya Resident Safety and Security Act. But again, we see that from time to time, amendments are again being brought to the House, thereby further delaying the immediate implementation of at least one law that will to some extent safeguard, check and balance the inflow of outsiders into the state of Meghalaya. I hope, sir, that after having raised this short duration discussion on a very urgent matter, the government of the day will be able to give us clarity on the matter so that we don't have to depend on information from the press, information from other sources. And it is in the fitness of things that if the Government of India disregards and disrespects the Chief Minister and his cabinet, who are found waiting time and again for an audience with members of the cabinet of the Government of India, the entire state tends to take the beating. We urge upon this government to stand firm. We are behind you. We will ensure that if the need comes, why only the cabinet and the chief minister go? We are all willing to go. We're all willing to be behind that movement. But there comes a time when the federal structure of this nation, as enshrined in the Indian Constitution, should be respected. And states should be given the freedom to take necessary steps and institute necessary laws that will safeguard and protect the interest of the people of this good state. With these few words, sir, I will resume my seat with a great hope that whatever the government does, though we are in the opposition, keep us informed, tell us what is happening, so that we may also lend support to important causes such as the implementation of the inner line permit in the state of Meghalaya. Thank you, Deputy Speaker, sir.
Now the whole collective and unanimous resolution, we know the background, and government must follow it up more aggressively. My other colleagues have very appropriately articulated. Another important thing is that while the people of the state obviously are anxious to see a positive response from the Government of India, at the same time, it is not appropriate for the government to allow non-government actors to take law into their hands and to try to enforce any provision of law that will only embolden people who want to take law into their own hands. That's something which is unprecedented. And unless a message which is loud and clear is given by the government in this regard, there will be lawlessness, there will be no respect for law, and we don't want that kind of society. That's my submission, Mr. Speaker. Deputy Speaker. Thank you.
Great discussion on status of implementation of inner line permit, and there was a separate one for a discussion on the caption that COMSO carries out ILP drive with police. So I will try to address both the issues and try to touch on both of them. Sir, I have a written speech out here, but I think maybe because of the, because of the paucity and of time, so I will not go through the entire text of it, but I will just read out some relevant sections, sir. Sir, number one, sir, I would like to thank the honourable member for raising this issue. And sir, you're aware that the Citizen Amendment Act 2019 has come into force through the publication of the Gazette on 12th of December 2019. States which have tribal areas under 6th schedule to the Constitution of India, namely Assam, Meghalaya, Mizoram, Tripura, have been kept out of the preview of the Act. And further, states covered under the inner line permit of the Bengal Eastern Frontier Regulation 1873 have also been kept outside the purview of the Act. So Section 2 of the Bengal Eastern Frontier Act 1873 provided the power to prescribe by notification the inner line prohibiting all citizens of India or any class of any citizen or any person residing in or passing through such state from going from beyond such line without a pass. So although the constitutional provisions exist for safeguarding certain rights of the tribal population in the state, the coming into force of the Citizen Amendment Act has necessitated the introduction of a mechanism to further protect the rights and safeguard the interest of the indigenous population of the state. Hence, during the special session of the Meghalaya Legislative Assembly held on 19/12/2019, the House unanimously passed a resolution to urge the Government of India to implement the inner line permit under the Bengal Eastern Frontier Regulation 1873 in the state of Meghalaya, and to further move the Government of India for making necessary amendments to the aforesaid regulation and inclusion of the state of Meghalaya in the preamble of the Bengal Eastern Frontier Regulation 1873. So the above resolution was notified on the 19th of December 2019 in the Gazette of the Meghalaya, and thereafter 6 copies of the same have been sent to the Honourable Union Home Minister, wide letter DOPOL 161-2012 PT 151 dated 23rd December with a request to look into the matter and making necessary amendments. So a delegation comprising of the MLAs from the MD government met the Union Home Minister on the 20th of February 2020 at New Delhi, and the central government has assured the delegation from the state that the matter is being examined and that the government will not allow the dilution of the tribal rights. Sir, having said that, I heard a detailed account of different press notes that have come out in the press regarding the entire situation on how the resolution of the ILP was passed and how further it has been sent to the Government of India and what different reactions that came out, sir. Sir, I would like to talk about many things out here, and I don't know whether time will permit me to be able to go into all of those aspects. But I think, sir, one thing we must all remember. We are here to ensure that our people, the indigenous tribals of the state, are protected, sir. As a government, it is our responsibility to ensure that we take different steps and measures to protect our people, especially the indigenous tribal people. And that is exactly what this government has been striving to do. I must recall and I must remind this House that this resolution of the ILP has been something that the people of the state have been wanting for a very long time. For many, many years, different organizations, different people have demanded this. And it is the duty of the government to ensure that we respond to the aspirations of the people. My question here, sir, is why did this resolution take so long? Why wasn't it done earlier? So different governments came in, different statements were made. I recall, sir, since different letters are being brought out. The Shillong Times on the 9th of April 2013, the caption said, I'm sorry I'm taking the name, the caption says, Mukul speaks out against ILP in state. ILP alone is not an answer to solve the issues. Again, on the 28th of November, this is 2000, I'm sorry, it just says 20th of November. Again, ILP is not helping any state but create a negative impact on the growth of the state. So my point is that we do understand these challenges that are there. As a government, we are trying to ensure that there's a balance. We all understand that a law like this coming in is a double-edged sword. We do have pros and we do have cons of it. It's a known fact. We are not trying to challenge or go into the in fact details of it. All I'm trying to say, sir, here is pointing fingers at each other, and the way it was made to look like by the honorable member who initiated it is almost like putting a lot of blame on this government for misleading the people. I think, sir, this government has done nothing to mislead the people except to bring forward the aspirations of the people, and which the past governments have not been able to do. This government has done, sir. And that's why I thank the honorable member from Maulai for having appreciated it. So we need to think positively. We all agree, sir, that passing the resolution is showing our unanimity. Passing a resolution is showing that we are all together and we want the state to move in this direction. But then we are part of this big nation. And there are rules and laws that are in different parts. Some parts are handled by Government of India. In the federal structure, some parts are handled by us. So therefore, there are challenges. We don't deny it. We are not saying that we'll be able to immediately move for it. Like mentioned by the honorable mover of the motion, that it took many years for Manipur. They went ahead with the resolution in 2014, if I'm not wrong. And finally, when the situation came, the ILP was implemented. It requires a lot of work. So I think changing the entire narrative and making the picture look into a picture where this government is misleading the House is, I think, incorrect, sir. And I think in the spirit of how we unanimously pass this resolution, let us be together, let us work together. I can assure you that this government is very, very keen and working very hard to ensure that we are able to achieve this goal and move ahead with this resolution. And that is why we waited in Delhi. With even the different elections going on, with different programs going on, because of the commitment that we had, we have been going to Delhi time and again. So therefore, sir, I think our commitment should not be doubted. I have heard a lot of positive things. We have tried to work very positively with the opposition. And I believe, sir, that this kind of a coordinated effort being made by both the ruling and the opposition will yield results for us, sir. Having said that, sir, they mentioned about the MRSSA. Sir, I don't want to go into details of the MRSSA immediately because there is, of course, a particular bill that is there that we are going to bring in. But I'll just touch on this particular issue, sir. And I need to bring out and clarify certain issues that are there which are very important for this House to know and the people at large to know, sir. Number one, sir, of course, I'm not here with all the documents, but I will only stick to the points which I'm very, very sure are correct. So coming to this point, number one, sir, this particular act, was passed a very long time back, sir. Past governments could have moved on implementing this at a very fast pace. But then, things did not happen because of different challenges that were faced. I'm not here to try to bring out the challenges, nor am I here to blame anybody. But the process did take time. When we came into the government, we immediately moved onto this aspect, immediately tried to work out on how we could identify the lands for the different entry-exit points, immediately started forming the different task forces, and immediately asking all the deputy commissioners to hold the meetings with the different Rangba Shnongs so that the implementation of the MRSSA can happen at the grassroots level, sir. I think these are concrete actions. And by the mover of the house of the motion saying that the government has not moved, I think is incorrect, sir. So therefore, I think I would bring to light that the government has taken the decision and has moved ahead with many of the provisions that was there in the MRSSA 2016 and stating that we have not done anything to implement the act is incorrect, sir. Number two, so there are many provisions which are there in the rules. Now, sir, I don't want to go into the legality of aspects. It is very, very complicated. But there are many aspects in the rules which have been framed which are not in line with the Act itself. Whereas the Act requires the persons who are as tenants to register, the rules require individuals to check and at the entry-exit point while they coming into Meghalaya, into Meghalaya at the entry point, sir. My point being here, sir, that this limits, the Act itself limits to the tenants. But the rules expand to people entering into the state. There is a disparity in the whole process. Of course, we'll have to go into it, and you have to change the necessary rules there. And hence, the necessary changes and the amendments that are coming in will help us to achieve that particular goal. Now, sir, the amendment that's going to come in is something that I strongly feel is a mechanism that is very much under our control. Today, we passed the resolution for the ILP, but we are still waiting for Government of India to give us a nod. Question is, are we just going to wait for it, or are we going to do something which is very much within our control, which we can do at the state legislature level and create the necessary mechanism to make checking possible for our own people's protection? And hence, the amendment to the MRSSA has come in, sir. And this particular amendment is something that will not infringe into the constitutional rights and provisions that are there for a citizen of the country, but at the same time create provisions where we'll be able to register and keep a track of individuals who are coming into our state, and especially people who intend to stay in the state, sir. At the same time, the Labour Department is also coming out with a new law which is making identification, registration and of migrant labourers from outside the state to come in. Before they come in, they have to register, and this act also will probably be brought in at the appropriate time, but right now it would not be appropriate for me to speak about it. I think when the bill is introduced, the Honourable Deputy Chief Minister will talk about it. But what I'm trying to get at is that our government is working towards different mechanisms with the sole objective of ensuring that the protection to the tribals, the protection to the indigenous people are made at different levels. Having said that, sir, I think this is a good forum and a good point and a good stage, sir, in the sense this is the highest decision-making body in the house, in the state, sir. It's a temple of democracy. I think this is the place where we must discuss about these issues, sir. Sir, I think it's very important to also realize that government policy making is one part to ensure that we are able to protect our people. In order to ensure that things are more foolproof, so the society has to work as a whole. It is not just the government, it is not just the politicians, it's not just the officers, but we need to have the different stakeholders like the Rangba Shnongs, the Nokmas, the different headmen who have to play their role and their part, sir. And I think this is very crucial to ensure that we actually have mechanisms in the long run which will really protect us and ensure that our people are protected. And there are laws like the Land Transfer Act, like the 6th Schedule, which are in place, which will ensure that necessary protection is provided, sir. So therefore, it is very crucial that sensitization of our Rangba Shnongs and Nokmas is done so that we can ensure that necessary protection is provided at the grassroots and at the village level. So at the same time, I would like to urge the youth of this state. So we always look at the different migrant workers and we say, people from outside are coming in and working, sir. Sir, I think sometimes our youth and our individuals and our young generation and the society as a whole should also look into ourselves and tell ourselves and ask ourselves that, well, in order to ensure that we get these jobs, let us also be able to compete with the people who are coming in from outside, sir. Therefore, I think the entire aspect of work culture is something that we must promote in the youth of our thing, so that we are able to compete with the other people coming in from other parts of the world. We have nothing against anybody, sir, but I just feel strongly that sometimes it is important to introspect and also to see where maybe as an individual, where I could improve and how I could do things. So today, for example, there is so much of opportunity in tourism that's coming up. So many opportunities in horticulture and food processing that's coming up. I think it's important that our entrepreneurs, our young boys and girls must seize this opportunity, become entrepreneurs, become job creators, so that more and more of our local youth can get jobs and ensure that, that the unemployment issue and livelihood issue is also tackled, sir. So therefore, it is very important to ensure that not just government policy, but the society as a whole must play its part in ensuring that, that we are able to protect our people at all levels from different kind of challenges that we might face, sir. Sir, having said that, in the other part of the discussion, there was also a point mentioned about COMSO conducting the different carries out ILP drive with the police. Sir, let me tell you, that is not correct at all, sir. Sir, in different situations, yes, there were organizations who tried to hold rallies, who tried to do demonstrations, who tried to stop people and check, sir. But the police and the administration immediately took necessary steps to stop that, sir. In different situations, there may be some recordings that people have or some pictures based on which some kind of stories were made. But those checkings and those particular activities was purely conducted by the police. It so happened that there were members of the organization because they were concerned. So we cannot stop a public or an organization to be around, but the actual checking of the documents and the papers and the entire activity was conducted by the police, sir. And yes, the Honorable LO has made a valid point, sir. The law is there, the administration and the police is there. We will never allow any non-government forum or non-government organizations to take law into their hands, sir. That is something that we are also very firm about. We are here as a government to listen. We are here as a government to listen to the different needs and different desires and different aspirations of our people, be it organizations, be it the Rangba Shnongs, be it the religious leaders, be it political parties. We are always open to discussion. We are always open to taking ideas from everybody, sir. But ultimately, the government will take the decision. And also, sir, we will never allow any non-government organization to ever take the law into their hands, sir. Let me give that assurance to the House today, sir. So therefore, there are many points, sir. I think, as I said, because of the shortage of time, I will not be able to go into all those aspects. But let me once again reiterate, sir, our entire vision and our entire goal is to ensure that we are here to protect the identity of our people. We are here to ensure that our people are protected. And therefore, different mechanisms may be there. And one of them happens to be the ILP, where the resolution unanimously was passed. And as a government, sir, we are dedicatedly and committedly following this up with the Government of India. And it really depends on how Government of India responds to it. But from our government side, sir, we are here to ensure that we continue to give the pressure to Government of India so that ILP can be implemented in our state, sir. So with these few words, I would like to resume my seat, sir.
Bring to your notice, sir, that it is wrong to presume that we were blaming the government. I didn't blame the government. I said we have a common enemy, we rally together. So that correction needs to be placed on record, sir.
Thank you. Now we come to item number 5. Sri Konark K. Sangma, Chief Minister in charge, political, to lead the government resolution, please. Chief Minister, please.
Mr. Deputy Speaker, sir, I beg to lay the government resolution, whereas the Citizenship Amendment Act 2019 has come into force with publication in the Gazette of India on 12th of December 2019, and the Act provides that it shall not apply to tribal areas of Assam, Meghalaya, Mizoram or Tripura as included in the 6th schedule to the Constitution. Whereas the Citizen Amendment Act 2019 applies to areas in the state not covered under the 6th schedule area to the Constitution, that is the municipality of Shillong as defined in para 20 of the 6th schedule to the Constitution, and hence additional measures are required to protect and safeguard the interest of the tribal population of the state. Now, therefore, this House thanks the Government of India for exempting the 6th schedule areas of the state from the purview of the Citizen Amendment Act 2019 and resolves that the Government of India be urged to exempt the entire state, including the areas not covered under the 6th schedule, from the purview of the said Act.
Now we come to item number 6. Shri Conrad K. Sangma, Chief Minister in charge, political, to beg leave to move the government resolution urging the Government of India to exempt the entire state, including the areas not covered under the 6th schedule, from the purview of the said Act. Chief Minister, please.
Mr. Speaker, sir, I beg leave to move the government resolution urging the Government of India to exempt the entire state, including the areas not covered under the 6th schedule, from the purview of the said Act.